Remember that everything is just a game. Welcome to the world of Caraval. Please remember that everything behind this wall is just a performance. So let's step inside. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kate from Kate's Culture, and I love talking about books, so I'm glad to see you here today to talk about some books with me. This is going to contain spoilers for book 1 of the Caraval trilogy. Today I will be talking about Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This book was sent to me a few years ago by my aunt, and I unfortunately only just now got around to reading it. So hi, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry it took me so long to read this, but it was so good. Thank you so much for the recommendation. The gist of this book is that two sisters, Scarlett and Donatella, are playing a game called Caraval, and Scarlett has to find Donatella. But they need to remember that this is all just a game. It is only a performance. None of it is real. I'm still trying to figure out a good format for these review videos, and I'm not sure if including a summary is something everyone wants to watch and see, or if they want to read it for themselves. So today, I'm actually going to kind of forego a summary and just give some really quick basic sentences and plot points so that you have some information, but I'm not going to go really detailed and it shouldn't last very long. Basically, we have two sisters, Scarlett and Donatella. They go to play this game Caraval, where things can feel real, but it's really just a game. The objective of this year's game is for Scarlett to find her sister Donatella before time runs out and win this wish. The game starts to feel too real to Scarlett. A lot of stuff starts happening and she starts wondering if it's really just a game or if this is actually dangerous and potentially fatal. She ends up finding her sister and wins the game, and then there's a plot twist that's revealed at the end that Donatella was actually behind this year's game of Caraval. So that's all I'm going to give you for a summary. I'm just trying to see and feel what people like to watch and what might keep your attention better. I actually really loved this book. I can say that. There were a few parts that I disliked, but I wouldn't say I hated it. On Goodreads, I rated it 4 out of 5 stars, just due to some things I'm going to talk about in here, but let's get into it. The premise of Caraval being just a game was really interesting to me because there actually were quite a few moments where Scarlett was thinking, is this just a game? And me, as a reader, also thought, is this just a game or is this real? Like, what is the plot twist going to be here? I thought this premise and idea was really, really fun, and it kind of had me on the edge of my seat. One of the issues I had is that Scarlett and Tella are afraid of their father because he is abusive and he has hit them in the past and uses the injury of one to control the other, and that's always how it's been. So they end up running away prior to Scarlett's wedding to this mysterious man, the Count, to go play Caraval. Now, it makes sense that they would run away and this is what fuels them to go to Caraval. However, the way it wrapped up at the end was with Donatella dying and Scarlett's father just leaving her there at Caraval because he showed up during the game. And I just didn't like that because I didn't feel like there was any closure there. It was also alluded by a different character that maybe their father was like this toward them because he was trying to protect them from something greater, like some greater evil. And I kind of liked that, but it just didn't go anywhere with it. It kind of felt essentially useless information to be thrown into the plot. I also was a little bit bothered by Scarlett with the way she acted because she was very untrustworthy of everyone, only trusts herself. She's only out to protect her sister. She doesn't want to trust strangers. And then all of a sudden, the next minute, she's fully trusting a stranger. She's getting her fortune told. She's drinking mysterious liquids. She's taking a leap of faith. And sometimes this can be really great because it shows how a character is choosing to forego their natural instincts and take that leap of faith. But it was a little bit aggravating because she always went back to who she was after that, and it seemed she took that leap of faith only for the plot, but there was nothing really fueling it. It just happened. As for their father, again, it was really made out that he was a bad, bad man, and then kind of started to develop, oh, maybe he's not mad. Started to develop, maybe he's not bad, maybe he's just protective in a terrible way, only for it to fall through and say no, he is a bad, bad man. So I really didn't like that because it felt like nothing came out of it. You guys can come for me. I think the second book has a lot more Donatella in it. I haven't started it yet, but I hated Donatella in this book. Genuinely, get her out of here. She is so self-centered. She's only causing more problems for Scarlet. Scarlet's entire life is centered around keeping her sister safe and caring for her sister and protecting her sister. And Donatella's just like, girl, I don't care. Honestly, it seemed like Tella never gave a pancake about Scarlet. And then in the end, when you find out that Tella is like, she's the one behind the mystery of this year's Caraval game, and she was relying on her sister to bring her back from the dead without telling this to her. I wanted to push Tella off the balcony again, I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, girl, That's kind of how I felt about the book. I really, really liked it. I did. I listened to it as an audiobook, so that's probably why I couldn't see the plot twist coming, but I genuinely enjoyed it. I read a lot of reviews where people talked about how they didn't like this book, thought it was not polished, they thought it was bad. I can understand why they might think that way. I don't think it's worthy of a 1-star review just because of that. Because I like to look at it as, this is a YA book, so it's going to have YA themes. It's not going to be as detailed, intricate, plot filled that like an adult fantasy book would, I believe, solely because I think a child's mind is still developing, and so they might not be able to follow all of that. And also, it's more relatable with just these goofy things that, you know, teenagers are into. And I think this book is definitely geared more toward like a female audience or a female-oriented audience, very feminine energy given. So I think, you know, young people who are into the female, the fun, the cutesy romance, I think that they would really enjoy this because it is cute. There is a little bit of mystery, there's a little bit of romance, and it's sweet, just with all the right amount of sweetness. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, as I mentioned before, because I loved it. I do think I've read some better fantasy books out there, but also I'm an adult. I've read a lot more books than, you know, maybe a teenager has. So I also like those books because my mind has developed. I have a lot of stuff. I crave more information than a YA book might be offering. But I think for someone who's probably still in middle school or high school doing other stuff, this is such an easy book to follow. It's so fun. It feels magical. It's got just the right amount of mystery, just the right amount of romance. So I absolutely recommend it. As for the romance, I always love to clarify because I know with like book talk and a lot of smut coming out, a lot of people are wary of what they're going to read because it's so popular now to be reading a lot more smut-filled novels. So since this is a YA book, there is no super in-detailed romance. There's just a kiss, a hug kind of thing. Like, it's absolutely 100% appropriate for a high schooler. The only reason I would not recommend it is if, say, you are not into romantic themes at all, then don't read it. But, you know, there's a lot more to this book than the romance that's in there. It's really about the adventure and the mystery. So the romance is very subplot, hardly there, but is talked about. As for the specific romance going on between Scarlet and Julian, I really loved what was being built throughout Caraval, but then at the end with the twist, I'm just not really sure how I feel about what was going on. So I'll let you do with that what you will. Overall, I really loved this book. It is so magical. Yes, there can be a few frustrating parts with plot or character development, but I'm choosing not to judge based on those things since, again, this is a YA novel and I know that I am not the target audience for it. So I am trying to evaluate my opinion based on my preferences as well as what maybe a younger me might think of the book. I do wish that I had the ability to have read this in my teenage years. I think I would have eaten it up, absolutely. But for someone of the ages 17, 18, or younger, I think this is a beautiful book with some fun twists and turns to keep you on the edge of your seat. I also feel that listening to it as an audiobook allowed me to kind of experience it sort of in those shoes of like a teenager, because I wasn't devoting my full attention to it all the time. I like to do other things while I listen to audiobooks, such as driving, cleaning, getting ready for the day or the evening. So not having my full attention devoted to it kind of allowed me to not pay so close attention to all the details, and I feel like that made me enjoy the book a little more, actually. It did keep me from predicting the plot twist myself, which I love doing in books. I think that's so fun to think about, oh, am I going to be right or not? So I do think the audiobook kept me from predicting that, but I also liked that because I don't always want to predict it. I don't want to see it coming. But if I had read it as a physical book, I feel like I might have been able to pick up on more clues, because reading a physical book kind of allows you to go back and reread parts much easier than listening to an audiobook will. So I think reading a physical book, you could probably find the plot twist in there, but audiobook maybe too. I don't know. It depends on your reading and how much attention you pay to a book. And with that will conclude my thoughts on Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I hope you give this book a chance because I really, really loved it. It was so cute, so sweet. I love a good YA, little mysterious romance. Thank you so much for watching today, and don't forget to follow my Instagram page and my Goodreads. Both will be linked down below in the description box.
Das war schön.